Hello, my name is Laura Forlano, and I'm a professor at the College of Arts, Media, and Design at Northeastern University in Boston. Today, I'm going to share with you a piece called Living Intimately with Machines. Can AI be disabled? And this piece is from a recent publication in the ACM Interactions Journal by the same name. So I'm delighted to offer you a performative reading of this piece. Auto mode disabled by user, read the medical chart. The smart system had been turned off from midnight to noon the following day, an act of disobedience by the user, me, in order to get a few hours of sleep. This is not a research project that I chose, but rather one that landed on me in 2011 when I learned that I was type 1 diabetic. For 4 years, from 2018 to 2022, I used one of the world's first automated systems for delivering insulin in order to manage and control my blood sugar. I identify, research, and write as a disabled cyborg. I'm cyborg not because my body is partly made up of machines, the insulin pump and sensor system, because of my interest in cyborg politics, practices, and knowledges that take disability into account in order to question the myth of technological perfectionism and solutionism, while at the same time seeking out possibilities for more generative questioning and engagement. For me, the notion of cyborg disability acknowledges that both humans and machines might be understood as imperfect, unsolvable, and yes, even disabled. Perhaps it's not so unusual to talk about computational technologies as disabled. As this example illustrates, it's a common colloquial and technical expression when talking about computing. For example, your account has been disabled. But we rarely understand disability to be a property of both humans and machines. So in this piece, I use autoethnographic field notes on my own experience of disability as a type 1 diabetic, which includes my use of a synthetically produced hormone, insulin, a machine, my insulin pump, and an assorted arrangement of digital and analog parts, including sensors, tubing, charging cables, alcohol swabs, insertion devices, needles, and the like. I use my own observations from day-to-day life with machines in order to better understand the ethical and political stakes of computing and design. In fact, I believe it's my responsibility as a researcher to pay careful attention to these experiences and the ways in which disabled people have long been experimental subjects for technologies that are later deployed in the general population. The fragile arrangement of human, machine, biotechnological, and analog things makes life possible and also sometimes quite impossible. While technologies offer new affordances and modes of living, they also introduce complexities that require attention, care, and maintenance. Software updates, regulatory changes, and medical innovations offer new possibilities, but they also remove some ways of being in the world. Habits, routines, practices, and even notions of selfhood and subjectivity are reshaped around seemingly small modifications. Often, I'm not sure whether I'm taking care of these devices or whether they are taking care of me. A turn towards a more relational, more than human and or post-human subjectivity that sees humans and machines as intimately entangled rather than as discrete entities as they've traditionally been conceived. My field notes are foggy, patchy, and partial, often fragmented statements sent by email to myself in the middle of the night before dozing back to sleep. For me, intimacy as method engages affective dimensions, in this case, fatigue, exhaustion, and burnout. By the glow of the iPhone, they hint at possible vignettes that can be copied into Scrivener and brought to life the following day when the sun is shining through the heavy red curtains in the living room. But while personal in nature, they're not meant to be confessional. As the author and researcher, I can decide which details to share and which to hide. My purpose is not to illuminate my own life per se, but rather what it means to live with machines when your life truly hangs in the balance. So now I'm going to read one of the 3 vignettes in the piece. Planned and situated algorithmic actions. 2018. In 2013, before I adopted an insulin pump and sensor system, I often woke in the night drenched in sweat and nearly too weak to get out of bed to get a 15-ounce glass of orange juice from the refrigerator in the kitchen a few steps away, or even to reach for chalky glucose tablets sitting on the nightstand. I often went to sleep hoping that I'd wake up in the morning and not fall into a diabetic coma. While teaching my classes, my face would go numb. While walking down the street, I'd suddenly not be able to feel my legs. While the frequent fear of severe lows is a thing of the past in my case, from 2018 to 2022, due to the need to calibrate the sensor system in order to ensure the continued operation and accuracy of the pump, I was not able to sleep through the night more than a few times a week. It's almost ironic that the system that has nearly eliminated the frequent episodes of low blood sugar that woke me in the middle of the night almost a decade ago has enforced another form of sleep interruption and deprivation. But this one feeds data to the algorithm rather than sugar to the body. With this smart system, frequent sleep interruption was such a common occurrence that I was convinced that I was sleeping like a sensor, in shorter patterns that mimic the system. In short, with long-term sleep deprivation leading to anxiety, irritability, and depression, I believe that the AI system that was keeping me alive was also ruining my life. And here's just an image to show you what it means to calibrate the device. To prick your finger with a small needle, feed the blood into the test strip, and send that data to the pump itself. So now I'm going to move ahead a little bit in this piece. And again, you can read the full piece, which just recently was published in ACM Interactions. And I'm going to move to the more generative part of this project. So in considering my technologies as well as myself as disabled, I see failure rather than perfection as the default setting. As a disabled cyborg, I'm aware that social and technological systems fail together. There may not be a single place to put the blame. But at the same time, like my CRIP identity, failure is not a lack, but rather what it means to live with disability and what it means to live with machines. So my experiences as a disabled cyborg have prompted me with the following series of what if questions. What if I redesign my life or myself? What if I design new interfaces like fashions and coverings? What if I use my data to create art objects like sculptures, visualizations, or music? What if disabled people design their own technologies? What if I participate in and design new communities or social structures? And what if I create new infrastructures? So in 2015, my worries about going to the beach with a disabled cyborg body led me to reach out to Sky Cubacub of Rebirth Garments, a fashion designer that creates queer CRIP garments with disabled people, in order to design a custom-made bathing suit that accommodates my insulin pump. And this piece allowed me to think more about the invisibility of diabetes as a disease in tandem with the visibility of the machine that I use to control my blood sugar. And continuing on with these creative modes of experimentation, since 2020, I've begun collaborating with interdisciplinary artist Itziar Barrio on a series of robotic sculptures that use data from my smart insulin pump, the one that kept me awake for much of the night for 4 years between 2018 and 2022. And when I visited Barrio's studio in December 2020, I was struck by the ways in which the choice of materials such as cement, spandex, and rubber suggested an alternative narrative about computing, in contrast to the shiny metal and glass of the latest line of mobile phones, tablets, and computers. I could visualize the scholarly citations that might support such a line of questioning. So in 2019, I had spent the month of July transcribing alert and alarm data on a daily basis in order to better understand the patterns. And here's one example of a day when I received over one alarm per hour. Day 27, July 27th, 12:31 a.m., low reservoir. 5:56 a.m., calibrate now. 7:01 a.m., calibrate now. 8:06 a.m., calibrate now. 8:31 a.m., change sensor. 1:05 p.m., low reservoir. 2:27 p.m., lost sensor signal. 2:43 p.m., possible signal interference. 2:59 p.m., check connection, ensure transmitter and sensor connection is secure, then select OK. 5:02 p.m., sensor connected. 5:06 p.m., sensor warm up. 7:01 p.m., calibrate now. 7:30 p.m., BG required. 7:31 p.m., alert on low. 8:11 p.m., alert on low. 8:41 p.m., alert on low. 8:46 p.m., low sensor glucose. 9:06 p.m., alert on low. 9:06 p.m., low sensor glucose. 9:31 p.m., alert on low. 9:40 p.m., BG required. 9:40 p.m., calibration not accepted. 9:56 p.m., calibrate now. 9:58 p.m., change sensor. So some of the data is actually printed directly on the circuit board of these sculptures. And these are powering the sculpture, and it is a reminder of the human labor that is required to make automated systems work. And these sculptures translate the alert and alarm data into subtle movements that recall the writhing movements from 4 years of sleep deprivation, and small balloons that inflate and deflate, mimicking inhaling and exhaling of human lungs. So to conclude, AI, like all technological systems, is disabled, but our design processes are still overwhelmingly skewed towards optimization, perfection, and efficiency, success, and also the happy path. We vastly understate and minimize the ways in which they may fail or the ways that things might go wrong, leaving others to suffer the consequences of our actions. And while making things work is difficult, it's even more difficult to acknowledge that things might not go as planned. So just as I've come to understand myself as disabled, might we also understand AI as disabled in the affirmative? Thank you very much. Here you can see a list of some of the recent citations to my work, specifically on this topic, the autoethnographic work about my experience as a type 1 diabetic using machines. And thank you again for inviting me to offer this lecture as part of your series.